I'm live. I'm live. That means I must be time to start talking. Well, I haven't made a video in a long time. But all is well here. I've been making baskets. I've been making one after another, and they're getting good. I'm really impressed. I was given permission to harvest a whole field, and so I did, and they're very thin willow, and they're not that long, and they're perfect, and there's all kinds of sizes, but most of them are thin, very few big ones. And that's okay because it doesn't take many for a handle. Of course, in the quantity, it ends up a handle is pretty big. But anyway, so hi. So I was going to tell you about the trials of life, and I just did. Oh, you mustn't look at my teeth. So I guess I'll just go like this. But I have a problem in my mouth. My tooth fell out. I have had many problems with many of my teeth. And so I only have 8 of my own anymore, these right in the front. And they're going too. So these two, I told him to, when he filled them, I wanted him to take the black out. There was black in there, and he didn't. And I don't know why. Maybe because he was going to retire. Maybe he couldn't see well anymore. Maybe he thought he might cut through, and the shell was too thin to take any more out, right, without breaking through. Maybe so. But anyway, so I had 2 fillings that were pretty terrible, and then if I go like this and talk like this, you can't see. Or if I smile. If I smile, you can't see. So I'll just have to smile. Okay, so we'll carry on. I have an appointment this afternoon at 3:30 to have them looked at. So there you go. It's a very short-lived thing, but it's going to be pricey. Uh-oh, you saw them. Oh dear. Well, anyway, so I like her. That's my best friend there, that Nancy today. She loves me. She knows everything about me, and she still loves me. She helps me protect myself. Put my finger there so nobody will see my teeth. She's my friend. She's a good friend. She's always there for me. Anyway, I digress. Again, this may be a very digressive sort of talk. Anyway, the trials of life. Some people think it's because we don't know. I know. People don't know the purpose of life. Most people don't know. Most people think that life should be good and easy and carefree. But really, the purpose of life is trials. It's one of those, we're here to get a body, and we're here to go through trials because we cannot grow and be like our heavenly parents if we don't go through trials. It's only through the fiery furnace of adversity that we grow. If you think of it as stairs, when you go through your first adversity, you learn and you grow. You learn that if you throw your food on the floor, you can't reach it, or whatever you learn. Every step of the way, you learn that if you walk this way, you're going to fall, but if you hold on, you won't fall. And so it's by adversity that we learn every step of the way, line upon line and precept upon precept. So if you happen to have cancer, for instance, and you think, oh, woe is me, I have cancer. But it's just one of the trials of life. And it is one of the steps that is in your life to give you opportunity to grow, because it is in opposition that we grow, only through opposition. And if you don't have any opposition, you don't grow. For instance, it's easy to be patient if you're all by yourself, but you get a little child running around breaking everything in the room, and your patience is suddenly put to the test, right? Because you have opposition. You must have opposition in order to have growth. But luckily, we don't go through too many of those periods where we have no opposition. Really, we don't. We have trials all the time. Sometimes, well, we have weaknesses, right? Like I have a weakness that, for me, I cannot sit still very well and study my scriptures and focus on spiritual things and meditate on it, because I'm going too fast. I got to make a basket. I'm got to sit in the sun and absorb the sun and look at how beautiful everything is. Whatever I'm doing, I don't have time to do that. And so that is a big opposition in my life. That is a weakness. And the Lord says, I give unto men weaknesses that they may be humble. And if they humble themselves, I will turn their weaknesses into strengths. So my weakness is not being able to sit around and do the scriptures and focus on my lesson. Come follow me, Manuel. But if I turn that around and see that as, well, Mary, my cousin, you've seen videos of Mary if you've been here for 10 years or 20 years or however long this has been going on. Anyway, I said to her about, I do all these things and I look at everything in my life as work. It's all what I want to do. It's choices because I don't have any responsibility because my children have flown the coop and it's COVID and I can't hang out with my grandchildren, except in the afternoon I get to hang out on Minecraft with one of my little grandsons. It's very fun. We're in creative mode, so you can do all kinds of stuff and we can build millions of gold blocks of things, without having to mine for it or whatever. Anyway, so because I have no real responsibilities in my life, and I don't look on housework as coming under my purview, even though I make the mess, and eventually I clean the mess, but I never think of the mess as something that needs tending when it's there. It's a mess right now, and I am in the process, but it's not urgent or important. And anyway, so I fill my life with things that are neither urgent nor important. I build grass huts. I now have several grass huts. I build teepees. I don't know. I put signs up everywhere, naming the teepee. I put other signs up down at my grass hut settlement. I wish I could take you down there. I just wish. But I have one dot down there, one line or whatever it is. So, or one bar. So it's getting better. I never had it. But I can sit by the stream and be online, but I'm not yet have enough to make a live video. So, and I have such low, it's like 50 or something for my upload speed. Not BPM, not beats per minute, but something like that. Something per second. Bytes per whatever. My hair looks good now. Look at this. Doesn't it look good? Makes up for my teeth. You can look at my hair instead. I've always worn my hair like this. It's like because when I was young, I wore pigtails. So I always parted my hair and I put it up in pigtails. And my pigtails, I wore them very high because I liked them to be very long. And it was like my hair was much longer if my pigtails were high. I always wore pigtails. That was before the days when everybody wore ponytails. The days came when my mother was young, everybody had curls. They all curled their hair and they had page boys and they would, put their hair in a flip. There was a girl at school when I was growing up and she put rollers in her hair and she had it rolled up like this and bobby pinned and she wore it to school like that. And I was always mortified at that. But, it was her idea. It was what she had come up with for a way to look nice, to have her hair flip. Who knows? Maybe she had very straight hair and it would never do anything and whatever. So anyway, the trials of life, I have to be careful with my lip. The trials of life are like this trial, right? Like, what am I going to learn from this? I'm going to learn one thing is, I'm a very can't think of the words. Hey, 3 people are there. Hey, I'm talking to real people. Hello, hello. Thumbs up and subscribe if you like listening to me rattle on about whatever I feel like rattling on about at the moment. Anyway, so life is supposed to be full of trials. So if every time you try to do something, you come up against a wall, it's because you need the wall. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to think. You would just keep going straight. Whee! In Minecraft, I make these roads because we keep getting lost. So I make these blocks up in the sky so you can see it from a long way. So I'll make this big long, and then I put train tracks on it. And then I put a train cart on it. And then I get in it. And then I push W and I go. And I just go and go and go. And sometimes you've got roller coasters. But we go all the way to Zanesville. And now they go all the way out here to his ocean spot. He built a house way down below the ocean and then tried to take the ocean out. There's probably a way to do that, but I don't know what it is. Maybe the walls aren't sealed enough. Maybe he needs a second layer in there. Anyway, I think it's because he has a trap door. Yeah, that'll do it. Leaks right around the edges, eh? Anyway, so so you have to have trials, because otherwise you just sail through life and there's nothing happening. It's rather boring, you know? I mean, we can use boring after a trial. We do get breaks. Have you had breaks? Some people don't need as big breaks, although they think they'd like to have a break. But if you have a break, then it's not really as big a trial. And so you need the trial. And so we're kind of stuck between, this is what's good for me, but this is what I want. And they're not the same, you know, like I don't want this trial. I want to be perfectly healthy. I want my hips to work and my knees and elbows to work and my teeth to be perfect, because I'm a privileged white girl. I've led a very privileged white life. Even though I was very dirt poor as a farmer, I was still a privileged white person. I've always been a very privileged white person. And with this terrible spot in my teeth, no, you're not supposed to stop the video and check what that looked like. Don't do that. So the other day, like, people stop when I go down there and I hang out at my grass hut because people want me to be there. When I'm there, people stop and they get out and they talk to me and take pictures and they put their masks on so I can't lip read. But and go for walks along the stream, or I'll tell them to go ahead in and I'll let them take tours of the different grass huts. And if I'm not there, I hear people from the house. I can see the traffic way down there, and I can see when people slow down. So I know people are kind of like, especially on the weekends, there's a lot of people that haven't been by here in a year. And so they stop and they want to see it. I don't know why I'm telling you this. Oh, I do, because of my teeth. So the other day, a girl stopped and she had some missing teeth. And the fellow she was with also had some missing spots. And I thought, for the first time in my life, I had something in common with them. And so I opened my mouth and, it's like I didn't care that it was a terrible black spot, because how important is my privileged white girl status? I would rather be close to the people that are in my world than have privileged white girl status where my teeth are perfect and yours aren't. Like, that's really bad, isn't it? I guess rural areas often have a lot of people that have not been born to privilege. There's quite a responsibility to that, because I feel like I've had more than my fair share, right? Like, when you divvy things up, I mean, we all figure it should be pretty fair. And so the trials that I've had in my life are probably nothing compared to the trials that have been in another person's life. And it's only by the grace of God that I landed in a family here with privilege, and that I ended up in a white body. Like, it's not me, not my spirit. I'm just whoever I am. But I don't notice my color of my skin, but then that's because nobody's reflecting a mirror at me all day, I'm just very privileged. And I understand, if I didn't have a husband taking care of me and allowing me to live this privileged life of no work, I would have a very, very hard time supporting myself. I never finished university, so I was aiming toward being a psychology, but I don't have any proof that I know something about it. And anyway, so I'm very, very blessed. And yet, even in that, there are trials that everybody on earth will go through. They're to do with the physical body. Your body will break down. It is headed that direction. You get to about 25 and it's breaking down from then on. And you start to notice it when you're 40. You start to feel aches and pains and what's this? And gee, I'm a little more stiff. I never used to be stiff. Right. Well, when you turn 40, that's when you start having physical problems start beginning. But those threads are interwoven into our lives, these threads of trials. And this time, once your body starts breaking down, is the opportunity to use that opposition and figure out what it is that you're supposed to learn from this. Now, if you think about it, there was once a time in my life when I had many trials, and I was so overwhelmed with them all. And so I thought, I'm just going to list them so that I'll know. And I was talking out loud to Heavenly Father. When you're driving, your head gets in that space that I need to be in for reading the scriptures. It's when your right brain is going. But I'm mostly right brain. Oh, I don't know, whatever. So I was enumerating my trials. I didn't have any money. That was one trial. I was really having a hard time with money. We needed money. And we had 5 kids. I don't know what we needed money for, but we always needed money. And there wasn't enough money anymore because in Canada, you get a baby bonus. I think it was like $300 per child. Then when they turn 6, you get less because you no longer have diapers and 5 or something. They no longer have all that stuff. So that expense is gone. And so then when they turn, so then you get that amount. But then when they turn 18, it stops. And so I had children that were getting older and I had little children. And so I was using all the money from all of them to feed us. It was $600 a month at that time for 5 children, which is what all of my expenses were based on. But then as they grew up, there was less, right? So, and so I didn't have any money. And I was thinking, what can I learn from this? Now, each of these trials, once I had enumerated them, there's a long list. And I thought, well, what can I learn from having no money? Well, I can be more frugal. I can learn that. What godly characteristics? If I'm his daughter, I am a daughter of God and you are a daughter of God or a son of God. And if that's true, then I'm going to grow up to be like my parents, right? That's just a given because that's an eternal principle is that we grow. And my spirit is growing and I'm changing and I'm becoming wise because I've done so many things wrong over the years. I've eliminated all the wrong things. And so I've landed on the right things. And so there we go. I'll just keep with this one because it's less work. Anyway, you don't have to unpick it and do everything all the time. It's like sins, it's like you're always having to unpick your life. Oh dear, now I did that. I have to go fix that. Why did I do that? Anyway, and that's all because of our weaknesses and our trials. But the purpose of life is to be happy. And through these trials, it's only through having a trial and opposition that you can make a righteous choice. Because you have to be able to then, you've got a child in your house breaking all your things. And so you've got the choice of do something really angry or to make a righteous choice. I don't know, lift the child up and remove him from the situation. Put him down where it's safe, that he can break everything here. And then talk. Let's go back and look at this stuff that you did over there. But it's the opposition that we get. When we get that opposition, it gives us that chance to make a righteous choice. So therefore, you cannot make righteous choices unless you are given opposition, right? And so in having the opposition to reading the scriptures, which I didn't tell you, all the work I do, the scriptures are my work. If I look at it that's my work and everything else I do in my day is play, because I get to choose, do I want to work with my houseplants? Do I want to sweep the floor? Do I want to make a nice dinner? I got lots of choices in my life. Do I want to go visit a friend and forget about all this stuff inside? Do I want to go kayaking? So I got all these choices. And that's what I have been thinking was my work, was what I fill my day with is my work, because it's often a lot of work. But my work is to read the scriptures and get spiritually in touch first. And when I've done that, then I'm saying to myself, okay, now you can go play. Now you can go put up signs or make tables or birdhouses or whatever it is, your baskets or grass huts or whatever you're filling your life with today. But I did plant a garden inside. Let me see if I can show you that. So all that over there, all those trays, I've got lots of different squashes. They were the ones that were in the squashes when I opened the squash. I took the seeds out. So I got lots of squashes that have germinated and they're up. I planted them out 2 days ago and they've already got 3 leaves on them. They're just enormous. And the rest of them, there's 6 lights laying on top of trays of those circle things with the lettuces and kale and whatever, all those little things. I didn't grow broccoli this year because last year it got frosted and then it divided before it, and so I never got any heads. And anyway, so I'm just gonna stick with what I like. Plus nettles. I've got nettles growing out there, and I'm going to cut them every year, all the time when they're this tall. I'm going to cut them all. And so I saw 2 patches out there. I have to go and harvest. And it's also fiddlehead's harvest time. So most of our garden happens anyway, and then there's a lot of other things that are going to come up on their own, like Jerusalem artichokes and Swiss chard. And so I like to try and keep my garden simple, but I love winter squash. And so most of it's squash and lettuce, or different kinds of lettuce and things like that. There. No spinach because it just bolts. In May, it gets very hot here in May. It's very cold here in April. Like it's in the 30s today. And it snowed a few inches the other day. It's gone now. Anyway. Where were we? You can say something. That's why it's a live chat. So making time for my scriptures. Once I look at the opposition and think, first of all, it's going to become my work. Scriptures are my work. So it has to be done first. That's the most important thing in the day, since I have no responsibilities except my garden, which is now I have to watch over it and keep it wet and whatever, but not moldy. And I just hung up lights today. So, and I'm transplanting Willem's radishes into these. I've got these little containers that are, it's a tray, and it's got all these, they're kind of funnel shaped. They're pointed at the bottom and they're about that big around. I'm going to put, the radishes are up this much. So I do them between wet paper. So I'm going to put them in between in all those things. And then I'm going to let them grow in there, and Willem can harvest radishes from in them. And then I'll plant them in the garden later when frost is over. It's 1st of June here. This frost is over. So wherever you are, it's not as late as it is here, unless you're really far north. Okay, so this trial, now, when I make this choice to overcome my weakness of not being able to sit down and do that, when I overcome it by deciding this is my work, and then I follow through and do that, I have now made a righteous choice. And I can now feel joy because I did it. I did it anyway. Even though I can't do that, I did it. So by having a trial, an opposition, it gives me the opportunity to make a righteous choice, to develop a godly characteristic, and to make a righteous choice, which then gives me joy. So now apply that to all the trials in your life, right? Apply that to your trials, and you will see that you can have joy in your trial, because your trial is an opposition, and it gives you the opposition to your weakness. Your weakness is your opposition generally, but there are all sorts of trials. They come from people, they come from ourselves, and they come just because this is a fallen world and everything decays. So our bodies will all decay. And in the meantime, we're still living in them. Thank you very much. Could you just wait till I get out of it before you decay? Teeth. Anyway, Oh, I noticed something the other day. I thought, what do people see when they look at me? And I looked at myself. And I got close and I thought, look at these wrinkles. These wrinkles, I mean, we don't have a lot of sun here yet, but there is no tan in those wrinkles. I mean, I don't have much of a tan anyway, but those wrinkles have no tan. You know what that means? That doesn't mean that I have terrible deep wrinkles. It means that I spend most of my day with my cheeks bent like this. I am smiling most of the time. What a cool thing to find out that my wrinkles are caused because I smile. So look what happened to my wrinkles. They're gone because I'm smiling. I only have wrinkles when I don't smile. So if I want to get rid of my wrinkles, just smile because that's how I got them in the first place. So they witness that most of my day, most of my time, I am smiling. Isn't that amazing? Or squinting from the sun. No, no, I think I smile a lot. And I laugh a lot. And people that I'm with laugh a lot too. I laugh with them. It's important to laugh. Man, isn't it dull when you don't laugh? I found Petticoat Junction. Have you seen Petticoat Junction when you were young? Or The Saint? The Saint. It's so funny. Well, The Saint is not as funny as Petticoat Junction. He's pretty serious. But the fact that every time his name is spoken, everything stops and there becomes this halo over his head. And then they do this little intro dance thing of this little stick person. Anyway, but The Saint. That was back in the 50s. It's really interesting to watch it because everything was current. And I was born in 55, which probably to you sounds like 1730. But no, it wasn't. It wasn't very long ago. We came right into the century pretty soon after that, like 45 years later. I can remember being, when I was young, trying to figure out how old I would be when it became the year 2000. Did you do that? I mean, everybody's been here. Well, maybe some of you are only 22, 25, 30. If you're 30, you might have tried to figure out how old you'll be when the millennium changes. No. It would be changing when you're born or when you're 10. So you wouldn't be wondering about how old you'll be because you don't think about those things when you're 10. Boy, isn't this a nice rambling spot we're in now? So it is important that we have trials because it's by trials that we grow characteristics of godliness. So, or the other way, like it's our trials make and break us. We need those trials because we need to make these good choices. We need to choose to have godly characteristics, to become pure and single-minded and focused on helping him and doing his work, being his hands on earth. If he doesn't always send his son and he doesn't always send an angel. Most of the time he sends people, right? Like he sent his son to die for us because only his son could do that. And we couldn't do that. And we needed that done so that we could get rid of all these sins, so that we all know that the sins are only part of this earth, and we all feel that it's going to be okay later. But why? Well, it's the innate knowledge the Holy Spirit gives you that this has been paid for. However, there is a bit you have to do too. It's not just free lunch, right? You do have to follow him. You can't just make all the bad choices, or your body is going to be resurrected either way. That was what the resurrection was about, was that the body will live forever. There's a time when our spirit, who is me, Nancy today, is not my body, because my teeth are perfect. These teeth are not. So Nancy today is who is in this body. And the body is a different thing, which will rot eventually, and then it will be restored. That's the resurrection. That's very important. But we will be restored as we are, as we are, not as we think we are. But we'll be restored as we are. So if you're happy now, you'll be happy then. If you're miserable now, you'll be miserable. So it doesn't change who we are. Our being has to change while we're here. We have to do some work on ourselves to make ourselves pure and godly and loving and kind and righteous and selfless and patient and long suffering, not quick to anger. Anger is not a good deal. We got to overcome these things. And the political crap out there, the political crap, you got to let go of that. You got to listen to the Lord Jesus Christ. You follow one Savior, Jesus Christ. Don't follow every voice that's out there, just the Savior. And presidents and policies and things, it all comes and goes. It's part of life. It comes and goes and comes and goes. And every president and every policy and all these things, they come and go. The opposition never likes the opposition's ideas. That's the way it is. It's always the same. Forever and ever and ever. All the presidents that I've ever known, and I've been around 66 years almost, 65. I don't have to say 65 and a half, right? Because I'm not 10 or 15, going on 16, or almost 17, just about 21. Anyway, so have I explained this to you? Nobody's mentioning, nobody's talking. Have I got something happening so that you can't respond? Maybe I'm not looking at it. Is there something I need to click on? No, nobody there. No live chat at all. Well, anyway, it is what it is. So in your trials today, if you make good choices, the choices your parents taught you were good to make, not just doing what your parents did, but the good choices you were taught in school and by your church and by your parents, those good choices, as you make those good choices in opposite, when you have opposition, like when you don't want to stop doing something that you do, and when you do not do it, you at that moment have made a righteous choice, and you are entitled to joy. And you can feel joy that you made that righteous choice. And that, look at that, you don't have to stay being horrible forever. You can do a good item, you can make a good choice, right? I mean, not that you stay horrible forever. Nobody's horrible forever. But anyway, you know what I mean. So we can choose to change. And our brains, I'll give you another little tidbit about trials. So some of our trials we've been having all of our lives, and we've been making bad choices with them and getting angry about them and murmuring and muttering and complaining and being financially stressed because we want the whatever, blah, blah, blah. So our choices, our trials, now I forgot where I was going. We'll just have to see where we are. Where are we now? Look, we have 6 people here. Hello, 6 people. I wonder who you are. I wonder if I know you. I wonder if you've been here before. Some of you, I've gotten to know your names because you've been here for years and years. Some of you I've visited in person when I would drive to Georgia and back. There were about 10 of you on the way. Actually, there was about 60 of you. And if I went this way, I could stop and see 5 of them. And if I went along the coast, I could see 5 of them. And if I went down from Ohio, I could see 5 of them. And if I went through Phoenix, right, there were 6 of you in Phoenix. And then I was in the Netherlands, and I met 3 of you. It was so cool. Well, one of them couldn't see me. 2 people. No, I did meet 3 of you. Yeah. There was Eineke Henrietta, and there was Josephine or something like that, Josephine. And then there was my other friend. What's her name? She gave me this beautiful shawl that she had made out of what she had spun herself, a homespun shawl. It's amazing. It's red and yellow and orange and beautiful. But anyway, so that's about you guys. So whenever I go anywhere, I would always try and figure out where people live. Like, people would talk to me and I would find out where they live. And as we got to know each other, I would decide that that's somebody I would like to meet on our journeys. And anyway, there were some of you I didn't meet. Lots of you I didn't meet. There's 16,000 of you. Is that right? I have 16,000 subscribers? But 16,000 people never watch any of my videos. I guess people just subscribe and move on, right? It's only when you go on Roku and you go to your stuff and you look through subscriptions and you scroll through and see who you're subscribed to. You think, why did I subscribe to this? And you check and they had one good video but nothing else. And so you might as well unsubscribe, right? But a lot of them just get subscribed to and left. But I think it does make a difference in the amount of videos that are being put up now. There's so many being put up that I think that what happens is they everything gets lost in them. I mean, it used to get lost in them when I was doing it, which was there were not that many. But over the years, there's getting to be libraries full of new videos every day. A whole library full. Several libraries full. Anyway, so it's been nice chatting to you. Please comment. Please tell me your thoughts. We can get to know each other. We can talk. I mean, that's the reason for doing this, right? I hope you're enjoying life. So smile, make good choices, and I shall go. Bye. Now, where is that button? Oh, end stream. That must be it. Your stream will stop immediately and you no longer will be live. Not yet. End. End.